How do I help a child with severe burn scars integrate into our community? Treat them like any other kid, focus on their talents, personality, and interests, and maybe teach the community that staring is for statues, not people. Thank you for caring so much. I have a colleague with a burn injury and it's such a life-altering event. I would suggest checking out the Phoenix Society. They have a bunch of resources online and a Facebook group as well. They may have some suggestions on how to help and possibly some other supports for the foster parents as well. That is heartbreaking to hear and I'm not sure how to fully help. I think the best thing you can do that you have full control over is invite your neighbors over for dinner picnic at the park when it gets warm out on a somewhat regular basis. She can at least know that others care for her. Do you have any friends in the area with children her age? Perhaps consider talking about your concerns to them and see if they could arrange a play date. Those other parents sound like jerks. Check out a teaching or tutoring sub for more advice, such as art teachers. I feel so bad that the other adults in your neighborhood won't take responsibility for treating people well and that they can't see the benefit in teaching their kids the unique lessons they can get from the situation. I'm sorry you're having to deal with this. I hope it gets better. I think you should also summarize briefly and ask our finder it because this question deserves full attention. If the child and her parents agree, give the other children a chance to ask her questions. Children will turn on anybody they don't understand, but sometimes they will embrace someone who speaks openly about their disability disagreement. Thank you. The world needs more people like you. One person can make such a difference. You're amazing for wanting to help this child feel included. The key is fostering empathy and understanding in your community. Start by educating kids and parents about kindness and acceptance, maybe through books, workshops, or fun, inclusive activities. Organize structured playdates where kids can bond with her naturally and emphasize teamwork. Talk to parents about how teaching empathy benefits their kids too. If the child is comfortable, help her share her story to normalize her scars. Most importantly, provide her with a safe, supportive space where she feels valued, and reach out to local organizations for additional resources. Small efforts can make a huge difference. Facebook is awful and all, but I can't help but think if I posted this in my local block club and mama swap groups on there, the response would be overwhelming. People love to offer help for those in need in those types of groups. And the people offering help get a million likes. It's a feedback loop of positivity. I would be one to respond that I'd love to get my daughter together with this girl. I would coach her ahead of time to see past the girl's physical trauma as much as she could. Do you have local groups like this? I have never used Nextdoor, but maybe there? Oh gosh, I'm so sorry to hear this. I recently read the book Wonder, which is a coming-of-age story about a kid with facial disfigurement. The message of that book is basically to treat everyone with kindness. I know my friend's child has read it in school, but if they haven't already, maybe the neighborhood kids can read this book. I think that book has such a lovely message and it's a fantastic read for any adult. I did cry several times lol, but it was very good. I wish I had done other insightful advice, but this is so tough. I'm sorry I don't really have any advice that others haven't offered. I just want to say thank you for being so kind. OP. You have a good heart. Fuck those parents. I don't have much advice other than finding good representation to share with the children. For example, Zuko from the show Avatar: The Last Airbender has burned scars on his face. He's still a fan favorite long after the show ended. I'm so angry on her behalf. It absolutely is their effing responsibility. They are not too young for that of all the nonsense. I'm sorry the children the result of their parents are having a hard time seeing the child for the burn marks. I hope you were able to stir some compassion in the whole community. For my part there must I hope be a family or two who would be open to learning more and being more understanding. You seem perceptive. Maybe if you just keep a close eye on people's reactions you will be able to identify them and then bring them on as allies for your young neighbor. I'm glad she has you. When I was in 6th grade or so, a boy came to one of my classes. A riding mower had overturned on him and he was burned very, very badly. He had to wear a clear mask to help the scarring on his face. It probably didn't help that Nightmare on Elm Street had been released a couple of years before. Our teacher tried to prepare us, but he looked, frankly, scary. I don't think I ever spoke a word to him, he said across the room. I had no idea how to interact with him. I don't know if he was bullied. With the benefit of hindsight, I have so regretted not reaching out to that poor kid. I think having an adult facilitate some very small group interactions where no one could get away with being a dick would have helped a lot. But I don't think it was feasible in a big class with one teacher. I think you ideally want 1 or 2 girls who are group leaders, but also somewhat conscientious and have kind parents and offer them a heavily chaperoned, but high-value outing with this kid for a few hours, to try to get over the initial strangeness. I think if you can get a couple of kids to integrate her in, the others will follow. Changing Faces is a UK charity, but they have some fantastic resources aimed at families about dealing with these kinds of issues with a child who has a visible disfigurement. Would definitely suggest a read. https. I saw a young girl on YouTube who went to a makeup artist. Aesthetician. She did a basic routine to make the burns look a little bit less severe. Another young girl who had lost all her hair. The scalp was scarred. She had gone to Michael's Crafts and gotten rhinestone stickers. She made beautiful patterns on her head. Makeup can be a friend. She's a normal person. I grew up with a young girl who was burned. We spent so much time together. Aside from the medical extra needs she had, she's amazingly brilliant. Now, in her 40s, she's a RN, a mom. Ridiculously happy and successful human. Just try to help educate people. If you have a type 1 diabetes kid friend, they can't eat every food and get some shots. If you have a burned kid, they need fancy clothing until their skin heals enough, but their brains work just fine. If you have an allergy kid, you don't expose them to that. It's all very boring and normal if you just spend a little time thinking about it. We all need different stuff as humans. I like the people's answers to this situation.